Welcome back to the program. I'm Roby Brott, joined by Representative Jon Eubanks. He represents Logan County, a little sliver of Franklin, Scott, and Sebastian County.
That's correct.
All right, but you're actually from Greasy Valley.
That's right.
I just learned. So
yes.
Where is Greasy Valley exactly?
Oh, yeah, it's about 2 miles south of Subiaco Abbey.
Okay. All right. And do we know where it got its name from?
You know, I've never been able to find that out.
Good to know. Before we dive into the main reason I have you here, I do want to hear a little bit about what's going on in flooding in your district right there. I know I've seen some photos, and that the whole stretch of the River Valley has just been impacted hugely. What's the latest?
Yes, Logan County, of course, borders the Arkansas River, and the Paris Bottoms was flooded, and it became a large lake, basically, and there's huge agricultural damages. I've been trying to contact the Westerman's office, Bozeman and Cotton's office, and trying to get the Corps involved in coming down and doing, you know, a survey of it and what the damage is.
Yeah.
And they've come down, and
you feel like the responsiveness has been good?
Yes, so far I do.
All right, all right. Well, let's turn our attention to Safe Surgery Arkansas. This was an announcement this week that we're going to rehash the battle of the optometrist versus the ophthalmologist from the last legislative session for people who were not there to experience that, and you carried the legislation for the optometrist on this. Define the issue for me.
Well, it's an expansion. It's a scope of practice legislation. It was allowed the optometrists to do 4 additional procedures in their offices. It's something that is currently being done in 4 other states, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Kentucky, and then 14 other states have some part of that expansion of scope, whether it's injections or the removal of what they call skin tags or lesions or that sort of thing. So it's nothing that is, it's brand new. It's been going on in Oklahoma for over 20 years, and Kentucky 8, and Louisiana 4.
Now, just statistically, have there been incidents where there have been repercussions from the surgery not going as expected?
Not that we're aware of. We have not been able to get any information that it's been a problem with those other states. In fact, their malpractice insurance is some of the lowest in the country. So I would think that if, in fact, there had been some problems, that it would have affected the malpractice insurance rates.
The knock on this from the ophthalmologist is that they go through extensive medical training for surgery, and that the optometrists do not go through that training process there. Is that a legitimate concern?
I don't think so, because optometrists is a 4-year doctoral program as well. They get the training for these procedures right now. Like I said, Oklahoma's been doing it for over 20 years. We have optometrists that can go over in Oklahoma currently and perform these procedures, but they can't in Arkansas.
Yeah, well, they can, they can in Arkansas.
Well, actually, they're still promulgating the credentialing requirements, so
I got you.
They can't.
All right. This is kind of a novel approach to dealing with this. We've seen initiated acts before that have tried to reverse legislative decisions. This is a referral process where this Safe Surgery Arkansas group is wanting to get voters to determine and basically overturn what the legislature enacted into law. Is that a dangerous precedent in your mind?
Well, I don't know if I'd call it a dangerous precedent. I could see the need for it, and I'm glad that actually that it's in the Constitution, that it allows the voters to have the final say in what takes place in our state. But this was not a bill that was slipped through the legislation. I mean, I've been working on this since November. An interim study, a proposal had to be filed. Everybody knew about it. It was completely transparent. Everybody knew when it was going to be in committee. It was during Scope Week in the Public Health meeting, and it ran through Public Health Committee and House twice. So there was plenty of debate. There was plenty of testimony. It passed the House with 70 votes. We had over 4 hours of debate in the Senate committee, and it passed, I think, with 25 votes in the Senate, which I think shows when people hear what the facts are, they agreed that this limited scope was something that was needed for Arkansas, and it would help with access to for public health.
It was certainly one of the more bruising battles of the last legislative session. I think you got a few black. I see you got a Band-Aid on right now. It's probably a scar that's left over from it right there. So are you ready to slug it out again? It looks like there may be a year and a half's worth of potential debate on this issue again in the whole state.
Well, I don't know how much I'm going to be playing into this. I mean, I feel like I did my part during the legislative session. I think now it's going to be played out in the media, public opinion, and we'll have to see what happens. We're going to have to get the facts out to the voters and let them make the decision.
All right.
It's theirs to make.
Yeah. All right. He's Representative Jon Eubanks. As always, good to see you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for being here. We're back with more right after this.